We are looking for articles. I'm going to begin on the main article search from the library's homepage using selected EBSCO databases. So this is a subset of all of our databases available through Booth Library. And the very first thing I like to look at after I've typed in an initial search is how many results am I getting? Here I see I've got about just over 200 results for my search on heat waves as it relates to climate change. I want to show you one tip for increasing your search results. That is to include the word "and" in between if you've got two separate concepts you're searching. And if you're looking for articles, I'd recommend you have 2 or even 3 different concepts that you're trying to join together into a search. Heat waves and climate change increased our results more than tenfold, just including that word "and" in between the 2 different concepts. That's just a way to rapidly increase your results if you feel like you're not getting enough good stuff. The exact same search would be if I brought climate change down here. And so now I'm searching heat waves and, there's my "and," climate change. And the benefit of doing this is if you're wanting to actually get fewer results, fewer, more focused results. In this case, I will say I want the phrase climate change to appear in the title of my search results. And so from 2,600 results, I've trimmed back down to just over 500 results where the articles will have climate change in the title and somewhere either in the abstract or somewhere else in the record, heat waves will be mentioned. In the case of these first few results, I'm seeing heat waves, and down here heat waves, in the subject associated with the article. Just like in the library catalog where subjects will describe what this resource is about, this is another way that you can get fewer results by being more specific in the way you search. Let's look at these first 2 results in the database, and I would encourage you always to look beyond just the first couple of results. This is another difference between a Google search and a database search, where the first 1 or 2 results in Google tend to be enough for what you're looking for. But in article databases, oftentimes you'll find really nice sources further down in the results, and even if you click onto the second page of results, you might be finding useful content. I certainly have in my own searches. For the sake of understanding how to navigate the database, we could click on a title to get more detailed information about this particular article. But I already noticed that the full text article is available to me either as HTML or PDF format. If we click on an individual record, we can read a brief summary, the article abstract, and decide if this is going to be useful for our needs. And we can click on a subject heading to link to more related content in these databases on those subjects. And then back in our search results, this first result is showing a get full text. As it turns out, there are a few different ways you might see those results display when you click on Get Full Text, and this is one of those examples. In this case, it's an article in the New York Times up front from 2021. What I'm seeing displayed here is that under Get It, we are showing physical locations in Booth Library to access this content. We'll go ahead and look at these Booth Library periodical microforms. If I click on that, it will tell me exactly the date range that we have access to this content. In this case, it's 1999 to 2004. Well, that's not going to help us because we want that article from 2021. So let's look at the second item on the list from Library Technology Services Storage. This has volume 135, number 14 as a CD. And coming back up here, I see that 2021, this article is in volume 153, issue 13. That is also not going to help us. Instead, what we're going to be wanting to look for is this request article via interlibrary loan. This will bring us to a very short form that you can just read through the introductory material, agree to the conditions. As long as you're using it for educational purposes, we'll be good to go there, and then fill in a need by date. Interlibrary loan takes, on average, 3 to 5 days for us to fulfill. You really want to put that need by date out a couple of weeks, just so that library staff here know if we're having trouble getting that request filled for you, we'll stop even trying after a certain date, maybe once the assignment is due and you're not any longer needing the article. Keep in mind that interlibrary loan is not instantaneous. It'll just take a couple of days for us to email you that article. In addition to our main article search on the library's homepage, we have subject-specific databases that are going to be really useful once you get into more advanced topics. So, for example, we'll search in geology today. Geology has GeoRef and Scopus as two best bets for databases that will include content specific to geology-related fields. We've got additional databases that might also be useful for you if you're studying geology. I'm going to search in GeoRef, and there's an option to add additional databases, in this case, Academic Search Ultimate, which is going to include content beyond just the field of geology. So for today, I want to stay focused in geology, and I'm only going to choose the GeoRef databases. And I'm going to again do my same search of heat waves and climate change and look at the results within this database. Here I'm going to scroll down to result number 6 and use Get Full Text for another example of what you might see. Here we have an article that was published in 2008, and I see under View Online that it is available from 1981 from these free e-journals. I'm going to go ahead and click on that link. I'm brought to the journal's website. I noticed that I wanted volume from 2008, and so I'll scroll down to that year. Coming back to the record for this article, I noticed that we want volume 340, issue number 9 to 10, starting on page 564. So here we are, issue 9 to 10, and looking within that issue, page 564, here is the article of interest. I can access that PDF immediately. And I'm going to go back to my search results for one more example of what you might see using Get Full Text. In this example, we have linked to look for open access to see if this article is openly available through the internet. Here we're brought to the publisher's website. It looks like there's a link to a PDF article here, so I'll click on that. And the message I get is that I need to pay to have access to this article, which we encourage you never ever to do as a student. We can get you the article through interlibrary loan instead. So because I'm not able to see the PDF from the publisher's website, I'm going to go back and use our request article via interlibrary loan link and submit that form. Just like we did in the library catalog, we can use the citation feature to format a citation in the citation style that you're being asked to use. Or even in the article databases, when we have an individual record up for one article, over on the right-hand side, there's also a citation formatter within the article databases. So you can scroll to the citation style you're needing to use and copy and paste that into a paper. And then, of course, make any final touches because these are all computer generated. So sometimes there are some errors, again, especially as it relates to capitalization and punctuation. If you have any other questions, feel free to reach out to me or any of the librarians here at Booth Library. I am Kirsten Duffin, the Geology and Geography subject librarian. Be happy to work with you on your research.